Male reproductive system has been explained. Now the female reproductive system physiology. The female reproductive organ also, along with the neuroendocrine system, manufacture hormones that are essential in biological development and sexual activity. مثل المياه. أيضا الأورجنز إضافة للنيورو سيستم اللي موجود بالبيتيوتري والهايبوثالاموس both يساعدون في سبيل إنه الفانكشن مال sexual function and the reproductive function. The primary genitalia in the female are the ovaries. المبايض اللي موجودين على الجهتين بالبلفس زين. The secondary genitalia are the fallopian tube, اليوتيرس, الفاجينا, الفالفا are the external genitalia. The external genitalia بصورة عامة تبدأ من المونس بيوبس اللي هي كتلة من الفات تيشو above the vulva, الليبيا, الكليتورس, vaginal and urethral opening. The internal organs are the vagina, cervix, uterus, fallopian tube, and ovaries, and the breasts. The female reproductive system is designed to produce eggs. كلها على مود الإكس على مود البويضات. Receive the penis during intercourse. فإذا it's produce eggs, receive penis during intercourse, and the sperm ejaculation store and contain and nourish the fetus and feed the newborn after birth with the breast milk. فإذا this is the functions of the female reproductive organ. Usually each month a woman's body from puberty to the menopause prepares itself to become pregnant. If pregnancy does not happen, a menstrual period occurs and the cycle again recommences. And this is the internal and external reproductive organs as we see here. Starting from the ovary, this is the ovary, this is the fallopian tube. It connects to the uterus, this is the uterus. It is above the urinary bladder. This is urinary bladder, this is uterus, and this is the rectum. Between them, between the urinary bladder and the rectum, this is the uterus. This is the cervix in here, it is a cervix, and this is the vagina. Vagina, this is vaginal opening here, and this is the labia here, labia majora, labia minora, and this is the pons. This is the pons. Okay. Ovaries are flat, almond-shaped glands situated on each side of the uterus. منا موجودين two ovaries beneath the end of fallopian tube مثل ما شفناها. زين جوا العند مال fallopian tube. These glands in the female are compared to the testicle in the male. Two testicles in the male produce sperm. هذول two ovaries produce ovi. Ovaries provide a space of storage for the female germ cells and produce the female hormone estrogen and progesterone. Ovary contains a number of small structures called ovarian follicles. Each follicle contains an immature ovum called the oocyte. Monthly follicles are stimulated by two hormones. The FSH اللي هو follicular stimulating hormone and LH اللي هو luteinizing hormone. ال FSH وال LH hormone من تطلع من ال pituitary gland اللي موجودة بالبرين. It stimulates the follicle to mature. واحد من الفوليكل من ovarian follicles يصير بها maturation. The development of follicles are enclosed in a layer of follicular cells. The mature follicle called a Graafian follicle, which manufacture estrogen mainly, which stimulate the growth of endometrium. فإذا قبل ما تنفرز البويضة الاستروجين increase لأنه الجرافيان follicle produce it to increase the growth of endometrium. الإندومتريوم اللي هي اللاير الداخلية اللي موجودة باليوتيرس. فإذا inside layer of the uterus يصير بها growth. At the large rupture follicle لما يصير بها حقيقة enlargement مال graphian follicle, it will rupture to become زين and a release of ovum اللي وين تنزل بالفالوبيان تيوب زين وياها. وهذا الباقي مال الفوليكل graphian follicle زين called corpus luteum، تتكون ما يسمى corpus luteum اللي produce two hormones. أول مرة كان يفرز استروجين، هسه يفرز استروجين and progesterone with the aim of supporting the endometrium until conception take place or the cycle begin again. فإذا يغذي أيضا الاندومتريوم، بالتالي إذا الأوفم صار بها fertilization ونزلت ووقفت وبقت باليوترس راح يصير conception ما يسمى الحمل زين وياها. إذا لا ما صار بها fertilization راح تنزل هي والاندومتريوم سلافينج يصير بيها، وهنا تبدي الدورة مال المرأة اللي يسميها menstruation زين. The corpus luteum gradually disintegrate and a scar is left on the outside of the ovary. This is called corpus albicans later. هذه خلال menstrual period. The role of female sex hormone, the estrogen, the progesterone, and androgens are produced by the ovaries in a recurring pattern. يعني خلال كل شهر يزيد ويقل يزيد ويقل accordingly حسب الدورة اللي نسميها menstrual cycle. menstrual cycle اللي هي عبارة عن دورة اللي كيف انه تكون زين menstruation زين. Although estrogen are secreted throughout the menstrual cycle, they are at higher level during this particular stage of the cycle اللي هي بالحقيقة خلال الجرافيان follicle. For the development and maintenance of secondary sex characteristic male female, estrogen are essential. And in combination with a number of hormones, they stimulate the female reproductive organs to prepare for growth of the fetus. على مود حقيقة الجنين ينمو. Estrogen have the key role to play in the structure of the skin. ولهذا skin مال female يكون أنعم وسبكتينيوس tissue يصير fat بها هواية blood vessels and help to reduce the rate of bone resorption. ولهذا أقل يصير bone breakdown and enhance increase high density lipoprotein, decrease cholesterol level and increase blood clotting. The endometrium of the uterus respond to changes in estrogen and progesterone during the ovarian cycle to prepare for implantation of the fertilized embryo. The endometrium is receptive to implantation of the embryo for the only a brief period each month. Okay. فإذا خلال ال 1 month اللي هي 4 weeks اللي يصير كالتالي، بأنه one of the follicles تنمو أكثر من الاعتياديات من الباقيات اللي موجودة، يصير graphian follicle. الجرافيان follicle secrete more estrogen. بالتالي لما يصير بها rupture اللي بداخلها موجود ovum، الأوفم تنقل الفالوبيان تيوب. الاستروجين أساسا يبني الاندومتريوم وول الداخلي، الوول الداخلي مال اليوترس، ويزيد زين الفاسكولاريتي مالته بعد وراها ايش راح يصير بالحقيقة انه الاوفم راح تنزل للفالوبيان تيوب، الاستروجين والبروجستيرون راح يزيدون، وراح يكون مهيئ لاستقبال بويضة ملقحة الاندومتريوم. فإذا ما تلقحت راح تنزل وراح يصير سلافينج وراح يصير ديزجرنتيشن للاندومتريوم، وتنزل الدورة ما يسمى النزف مال الدورة، وتبدي أيضا another cycle of the menstrual cycle. Okay. The menstrual cycle starts with the menstrual phase and lasts from day 1 to day 5. The inner endometrial layer separates and releases as menstrual fluid lasts for 3 to 5 days. Okay, هذه بالحقيقة حكينا بيها. As the growing follicle begins to produce the hormone estrogen, day 6 to 14, the next stage, the proliferative phase, commences. As a result of this, the inner layer repairs and thickens, while at the same time, spiral arteries multiply and tuberous glands form. Cervical mucus alter, becoming a thin, crystalline substance, forming channels enabling the sperm to travel up into the uterus. The final phase, lasting from day 14 to 28, is the secretory phase. As the corpus luteum produces progesterone, the rising level causes endometrium increase vascularity, changing the inner layer to secrete mucosa, stimulating the secretory mucosa, stimulating uterine cavity and causing the cervical mucus again to become thick and block the internal os. If fertilization does not occur, hormone level fall, spasm of the spiral arteries, causing hypoxia of the endometrial cells, which begin to degenerate and slough off. As with ovarian cycle, the process begins again with the sloughing of the inner layer of the endometrium، وتبدي مرة الأخ بالحقيقة مثل ما حكينا على السايكل. This is a diagram of internal organs of the female. This is the ovary, and this is the other ovary. This is the fimbria اللي هي نهاية الفالوبيان تيوب أو ما يسمى اليوتراين تيوب. هنا لما الأوفريان فوليكلز تطق تطلع الأوفم تنزل لي جوا. Usually fertilization occur in the fallopian tube. هنا بالحقيقة اليوترس، هنا الاندومتريوم اللي يصير بيه thickening يصير بيه، وبالتالي بنهاية الدورة يصير بالتالي sloughing. هنا السيرفكس اكوش بلاج، اكوش فتسدادة مال ميوكاس اللي يصير خلال منتصف الدورة يصير بالحقيقة الميوكاس يصير يختلف في الكونتنت مالته، بحيث السبرم it can pass through ويوصل بالحقيقة السبرم لهنا ويصير fertilization مال الأوفم. لما يصير fertilization مال الأوفم تنزل لهنا، يصير بها implantation بالوول مال اليوترس، وتظل تفرز الهرمونز بالتالي منا على مود continue to grow للاندومتريوم. إذا ما صار fertilization راح يصير sloughing اللايرز اللي خلال الدورة، خلال وقت المنتصف يصير بيها growth. هنا راح يصير بيها بالحقيقة disintegration وسلافينج زين، وتنزل من خلال السيرفكس إلى الفاجينا على شكل blood و other contents of tissue اللي هي نسميها بالحقيقة الدورة اللي تطول 3 إلى 5 أيام. Okay. Yes. The uterus and fallopian tubes. It is a muscular organ lying in the pelvis مثل ما شفنا. حقيقة لو ترجعون عليها this is a very muscular tissue, بيها endometrium وبيها المسلز هذه. pelvic posterior and superior to the urinary bladder مثل ما شفناها. It is posterior and superior to the urinary bladder. It lies anterior to the rectum. The fundus is a thick muscular region situated above the fallopian tube. This is the fundus. The body is the main portion of the uterus joined to the cervix. This is the body, and this is the cervix. فإذا fundus, body, and cervix. The cervix is the narrowest part of the uterus opening out into the vagina. Also has the 3 layers. The perimetrium is the outer serous layer emerging with the peritoneum. The middle layer of the myometrium and comprises most of the uterine wall. فإذا perimetrium, myometrium, وendometrium. Perimetrium, myometrium, and endometrium. Most of the myometrium is the most of the uterine wall muscle fibers, and this layer allow contraction to occur during menstruation or childbirth and increase size as the fetus growth. The endometrium, the innermost layer, lines the uterus, and this layer is shed during menstruation. The fallopian tube are delicate, thin, cylindrical structure approximately 8 to 14 centimeter, حوالي 10 سنتيمتر. They are affixed to the uterus. The lateral end of the fallopian tube are open and made the projection called fimbria that drops over the ovary. The fimbria pick up the ovum after its discharge from the ovary. Vagina and cervix. The vagina is a tubular fibromuscular structure approximately 8 to 10 centimeter in length. It is the receptacle for the penis during sexual intercourse, an organ of sexual response. The canal that allows the menstrual flow to leave the body and the passage for the birth of the child. The vagina is situated posteriorly to the urinary bladder and urethra. It is anterior to the rectum, usually between the rectum, between the urethra. Usually the walls of the vagina are moist and have pH ranging from 3.8 to 4.2, so it is acidic. This pH inhibits the growth of bacteria and is maintained by the action of the hormone estrogen and healthy vaginal microorganisms. The cervix into the vagina project, the cervix, and this forms a pathway between the uterus and the vagina. The uterine opening of the cervix is known as the internal os, or the vaginal opening is called the external os. The external genitalia are known as the vulva. They include mons penis, labia, clitoris, vaginal and urethral opening, and the glands. The mons pubis is a pad of adipose tissue covered within the skin. It lies anterior to the symphysis pubis, cushioning it. After puberty, the mons is covered with coarse pubic hair. The labia are divided in two structures: the labia majora, which are folds of skin and abundance of adipose tissue covered with pubic hair, are outmost. They begin at the base of the mons pubis and terminate at the anus. فتحة الشرج. The labia minora, situated between the clitoris and the base of the vagina, are enclosed with the labia majora. They are made of skin, adipose tissue, and some erectile tissue with a number of sebaceous glands. They are usually light pink and are devoid of pubic hair. هاي بالنسبة للليبيا minora. The clitoris is composed of two small erectile bodies the corposa cavernosa, and several nerve and blood vessels. The glans clitoris is the exposed portion of the clitoris and is likened to the glans penis and linked to the glans penis, تشبه glans penis. In the male, this aspect of the external genitalia is capable of enlargement. It has a role or to play in sexual excitement in women. The breast are dome shaped مثل القبة, protrusions differing in size between individuals, يعني قسم صغار قسم كبار حسب. They are also sometimes called mammary glands. These are external accessory sexual organs in the female. There are several milk-producing glands located within the breast. نسميها lobules بالبريست. Milk production is controlled by hormone called prolactin. فاكش هرمون موجود بالبرين يطلع من البيتيوتري اسمه prolactin. It control milk production in the breast. The breasts are made of adipose fat tissue, fibrous connective tissue, and glandular tissue. There are bands of fibrous tissue that support the breast and extend from the outer breast tissue to the nipple, dividing the breast into 15 to 25 loops. A pigmented area known as the areola is situated a little below the center of each breast and containing glands that secrete a sebum, a thick substance composed of fat and cell debris, sebaceous glands, and nipple. And there is a nipple in the center. The nipple is usually protruding, becoming erect in response to cold and stimulation.